Happy New Year, ladies and germs. It's Michael Burns. Here we are in a brand new year, and this is One Mic Out. And this is going to be a revolutionary year, a revitalizing year, a renovating year, a whole new year of doing anything and everything different that we can. And to start that off, I got a new calendar. You can see right here. Of course, it's Superman because he's the greatest superhero ever, the first one, and I've always loved the character my entire life, and so why not? Got another one in the background, little sombrero on his head. Have had that one forever. And some paintings and stuff like that. This, when I originally thought of doing this whole thing and, trying to take all the interests that I like, that defined my childhood and have defined, not only my adolescence, but into my 20s, my 30s, and now my 40s, I'm like, how do I mix all of that? How do I mix I wasn't big on reading a ton of comics, but I did read a few, but I was a huge Superman fan growing up. So thus I did like comics, being huge on that, huge on sports, huge on wrestling, and huge on, outdoor stuff and wanting to be a man and do stuff that you would prove yourself, you wanted to prove to yourself that you could do and things like that. And, in this world where, a lot of people, at least growing up, it was almost deemed kind of like you were a nerd if you liked stuff like that. So you kind of put on a front or an act, where secretly you were Pokemon's a little bit after me. So I was born a little prior to that whole fad, but coming out, here, seeing a lot of my friends who are like in their 30s and whatnot, who are huge on Pokemon and seeing other friends who, everyone was kind of closeted. You kept, they didn't want to get picked on, or they didn't want to ruin their self-image, with their classmates at school and things like that by outing themselves as being a nerd. To today, you kind of you can be a nerd and yet you can still go and be a pro athlete, and be a hyper nerd, or you can still be a nerd and be a badass, person in the military or something like that. And no one's going to really judge you for it. So it's kind of cool that we've gotten to that, at least that point as a society, to where we can kind of accept that kind of stuff, to where we know now that, hey, a lot of these people, a lot of us have these, these little fantasies and stuff, if you will, that, we grew up with, that now people don't have to necessarily suppress those and hide them anymore. You can just be open with it and stuff like that. So thus, at this point in time, I think you're probably a pretty boring person if you don't have some sort of, something like this, some sort of niche that you like, that whether it's, they could be anything, like literally anything. But if you're always, if you're still to this day putting on that act and that front of, I'm just man, I'm just cool, I'm just this guy, and putting on this, that's all you care about. You actually look like, the one that, back in the day was made fun of. So, loosen up, lighten up, people. It's 2025. We're a quarter of a century into this damn century. Isn't that crazy? We're 25 years. I have my 25-year high school reunion this June. That's insane to me to think about. 25 years. Where did that go? Where did that time go? It's insane that here we are, like, that the time has just kind of flown by. And you can do all the cliche, it's the time's kind of gone by, and where did the time go, and oh my gosh, I just blinked and we're here. No, we've all had conscious efforts and decisions that we've made along those years, that if you feel like you just blinked and woke up and you're all of a sudden in 2025 from the year 2000 or sometime, a couple decades ago, have you not been doing maybe you haven't been doing everything that you would like to do. Maybe you haven't cared about, or maybe put forth the effort and self-motivated to realize some of your dreams, and understanding that a lot of dreams that we have can be very difficult to obtain and to realize. However, that doesn't mean you should stop. A lot of a lot of founders of things, Henry Ford and a lot of people like that, didn't make their, make their big break until their 40s. And so don't think that just because you're getting up there now, we're middle aged, because life expectancy is like 78, 76, 78 years old or whatnot for men in the US, so we're a little bit beyond to the right side of middle aged. So, don't use that and think, oh man, that's it. Life's over. I tried, I didn't get it. Lots of life left. There's a lot you can accomplish still, and a lot of new hobbies that you can take up, a lot of new things that you can learn. You can still learn that new language and be fluent in it if you want. You can still pick up that guitar and take those lessons. And, all it does is take repetition and time. The biggest bane of our existence right now today is the smartphone. I've talked about it before, and I'm not culpable free. I am not guilt free of it. All of us, we've conditioned ourselves and become addicted to, having to always reach down and pick it up and just check it for whatever reason, because we're wanting to check whatever. We're trying to stimulate our brain because we've been overstimulating it with nonsense for so long that's just, now we're searching for other things that, never come to fruition. And so we experience this up and down of dopamine and cortisol that just, it is inundating our blood. And that's why, health and all that kind of stuff, where we forget that we have to stay regimented in something and continue something and do it, over and over and over, in order to truly get good at something. And nothing happens overnight. If anyone, again, working out, that's the easiest one to use, or a diet, if you're trying to lose weight or put on weight, or if you're trying to put on muscle or whatnot, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistent effort and work. And then once you obtain that goal, you're finally to where you wanted to be. You got to keep going. You got to now maintain that and keep that going. And that's difficult. That's not easy to do. But I've seen a lot of friends, and myself included, again, no one is immune to it, that, we achieve a goal and then it's like, we're there. And, using the military as an example, we used to, with our ruck marches that we would do, we were very ruck centric in my career field that we did, to where, those progress checks with those rucks that would each week would get longer and longer, and the poundage in the rucksack would get heavier and heavier. Those were meant to, one, see if we had that it factor, if we had the self-motivating factor to get that done. But two, once you got to your objective, once you got to the end of that ruck, theoretically, that's when the mission would begin, because you're just traveling. That's just your transport. Your two little feet are your transport from point A to point B, so you can be at point B and start to get to work. And so a lot of times, like you would have people build themselves, oh man, we got to go 12 miles and we're going 75 pounds. Are you kidding me? Oh man, I got to work out. I got to ruck. I got to do everything I can so I can make that time limit and make that distance. And then when we would go out and perform it, and you'd see all these people and all these studs keel over to the side. And then, we would have to remind them, hey, job's not over. It's just starting. Get up. Now you got to get your radios out, or you got to get your patrol base set up, or you got to, do your bivouacs, do whatever you got to do. You're fighting foxholes and all that. You got to do all of that stuff, and it's not the rest time. It's get to work time. And so when you achieve your goal, when you're finally there, you have to remind yourself that once you get to that goal, that's not, hey, you got to that goal for a reason. And that more than likely, most people, you have a bigger goal beyond that. And so that goal is a stepping stone. So I think oftentimes we get to that goal and then we're like plop on the couch. Oh, I can take my rest now. And then all of a sudden we lose that momentum that we had going into what was going to be that next goal. And now we kind of have to reaccomplish the goal that we just accomplished. And so we got to stick with it, steadfast, hold to the rod, the slow and steady, slow is smooth, smooth is fast, all that kind of craziness. You got to stay with it. And just go, one day, one step at a time. And, hopefully, it's not going to be easy. If it, again, if it was easy, everyone would do it. But Don't become demotivated and don't lose hope that, God, this is so difficult. It's supposed to be difficult, and it's not supposed to be this exciting thrill every single moment moment of the way and step of the journey. It's going to be boring sometimes. It's going to be mundane at times. It's going to just be straight up, why am I doing this? Does anyone even notice? Do I, what's the point? Why should I even care to continue doing this? If anything, be afraid of failure. Prove to yourself that you can stick with something and accomplish it, and then have a goal beyond that of what you're going to be doing next. To be stagnant is probably the worst thing that we can do as human beings. Because the moment that we become stagnant, again, you don't dam yourself. I don't believe in damming yourself. Damming yourself means you hit a dam, you hit a rock wall, you're stopped. You're no longer progressing. I don't think it's that. It's an uphill. So the moment you stop, you start to go back. There's no brakes. You don't get to put a parking brake, some wheel chocks, and just hang out on that hill and be like, whew, okay, next. The moment you stop, you slowly start to go back down the way that you came. And so whenever you decide to kick it back in gear, now you have to make up that ground that you lost. The best way to do it is maybe don't sprint up that hill. Determine what is best for you and what is your pace and what is going to be your cadence to get up that hill, to get to those goals. And, you don't have to sprint. Like I said, you don't even have to jog. You can freaking just walk that sucker, but just slowly walk it up. As long as you're progressing, as long as you're doing something to make yourself better, whether it's reading the scriptures, and reading a chapter at a time, each day, or whether it's reading a book, or just whatever it is, playing a dang video game and leveling up, doing whatever it is, or, having a hobby of riding motorcycles and just doing something that makes you feel like you accomplished something that day, to get you to the next one. So anyway, this is my long rambling 12-minute long over, 2025, one mic out introduction to the year that's going to be, and different things are going to change and all that kind of craziness. There was a reason it's been a minute since I've been on here is because there was a potential of a big life change that was going to happen. It didn't work out, which I always take that as that's the universe and God in His way of saying no, this needs to be the way that you go and not this way. And I kind of just roll with it, and that's what I've always done my whole life, is rolled with it, not forced anything, but just kind of rolled with it, just kind of do that. And, we'll see what this year has for us. But anyway, I hope that you're along for the ride with it. It's going to be a fun one. And, here we are, sunny Florida. I hope everyone's staying warm. It's a little chilly down here, but obviously I'm in short sleeves. And if you're somewhere where it's snowing and cold, enjoy that, because I miss that a lot. And a lot of us down here do. I don't miss going to work and stuff like that in it, but, there's trade-offs. We got the beach, right? So anyway, we'll see you with the next one. This is One Mic Out. I'm Michael Burns. Hit subscribe, like, whatever the hell it is that I throw this up on. And tell your friends, share it to them and all that. I will get to a point to where I start editing these more now that I'm out of school. And there's my look at that. Look. If I can get up there and go there, look at that sucker. That's a degree right there. Look at that, up on the wall. But if I can, once I get, I have more time, but now I'm going to get this whole editing thing down and all that kind of jazz, to where these things are maybe a little bit shorter. Some of this bullshit, that I spew is maybe not as bullshitty. And then, we'll clean this up a little bit. But anyway, I will see you with the next one. You all have a great day, and we'll see you later.